Welcome back to Secret Weapons. My name is Mark Johnston. If this is your first time here, this is a YouTube channel where we do gear demos and reviews, as well as studio tips and tricks for leveling up your writing, playing, and production from the perspective of a guitar player working out of a studio. If that's the kind of thing that would appeal to you, I would love it if you hit that subscribe button and stick around for future videos. Today we're taking a look at the Canvas Line Isolator Nano by Walrus Audio. So yesterday on the channel, we took a look at the Canvas Stereo, DI, and LI and dug into the use cases for direct injection, line isolation, as well as went through a kind of cursory view of understanding impedance and signal flow for guitar players. And so if you've ever asked the question, why do I need a DI box? What does a line isolator even do? Or you just want a refresher on understanding impedance, I'm going to link to that video down below and in one of these corners if I can remember how to do it. I highly recommend you go check that out for the kind of fundamentals of what we're going to talk about today. But that Canvas Stereo, DI, and LI is very much a multi-tool, a Swiss Army knife. Whether you're running a full pedal board with an amp-in-a-box solution, your bass guitar direct to front of house, or even your synthesizers, the Canvas Stereo is kind of designed to take all of those both high and low impedance sources and convert them to balanced outputs for front of house, for your recording console, or kind of wherever else that audio needs to go. However, you may be somebody who doesn't need all of those bells and whistles. You may not need the XLR summing or phase inversion. You may not need a pad. You may not even need 2 channels of audio or the DI itself. The Canvas Nano Line Isolator might be the silver bullet for you. So let's talk about what the Canvas Line Isolator is, what sets it apart from its flagship counterpart, and who this is for. So I'm going to once again recommend that you check out yesterday's video if you want a deeper dive into understanding the differences between direct injection and line isolation, as well as that impedance refresher. But the Canvas Line Isolator Nano strips away all of the extraneous stuff from its flagship counterpart. This is a line isolator alone with none of the extra features. There is no DI, this is only line isolation, which means this is perfect for small format mono rigs that need to convert low impedance, unbalanced quarter-inch signals to balanced XLR. And when we say low impedance mono sources, what we mean is things like your amp-in-a-box solutions, your Walrus ACS1, your Strymon Iridium, the Neural DSP Nano Cortex if you're running it in mono, or active instrument sources like mono synthesizers, acoustic guitars with a 9-volt battery, or active pickups in a bass guitar, or EMG pickups in an electric guitar. What I would say is consult the manual of the gear you're using, and if the output is rated at below 1,000 ohms unbalanced, this is a solution that will work for those situations. This is not for high impedance sources like passive guitar pickups. If you're somebody who travels with an active pickup system electric guitar, you could pair that with a Polytune and have the world's smallest and most adorable direct-in rig for your acoustic. And you'd only need like a 1 spot to power the whole thing because this needs power, but this does not. I know a lot of guitar players who use amp sims tend to also run stereo rigs, but if you're somebody who runs a mono electric guitar rig or uses something like the Tonex Nano, this is once again a pretty perfect solution, especially considering this is like the same size as that tiny Tonex box. And as I'm sure you were able to infer from that intro track in today's video, this is the rig that I have been using mine in. Since the V2 version of the Nano Cortex's firmware came out, this has become like my ideal pedal board, both for in the studio and if I ever went anywhere for playing bass live. And the Canvas Line Isolator is kind of the perfect solution for a tiny but like all-encompassing bass rig for me. So it's hard to really know how to do sound samples for something like this. We did cover the transformer in here in earnest yesterday on the channel, but there isn't really anything to do in terms of plug in, and just kind of play. All you really have to know is this thing takes unbalanced audio and balances it and has low total harmonic distortion. It is the same transformer as we heard yesterday after all. So instead, for completionist's sake, so that this video has all of the kind of touchstones of one of my kind of secret weapons videos, an intro song, me talking to camera like this, and then something resembling sound samples, we're just going to go ahead and solo out the electric guitars, the acoustic guitars, and the bass from that intro song because they were all recorded with the Line Isolator. The acoustics are recorded directly into this. The bass and the guitars are all recorded through the Nano Cortex from Neural DSP, but tracked all in mono with the Canvas Line Isolator. The bass is obviously center channel mono, as a bass should be, and the electrics are just kind of two different parts panned left and right. And it's a good reminder that sometimes mono is enough, especially with electric guitars, even when you're doing the ambient thing. So here are our sound samples. Enjoy.